hundreds dead. The number could rise. Among the dead, 6 Americans, including a rabbi from New York and a father and daughter from Virginia. Here's ABC's Nick Schifrin.
In the shattered, paralyzed city of Mumbai, it is time to bury the dead. 200 Indians, Americans, police, brothers, mothers, Bobby Garvey's friend.
There will be much grieving. I don't think this community has fully experienced the impact of this event yet.
In the Jewish center here, where commandos rappelled onto the roof, nearly destroying this building in order to gain control, Rabbi Gavriel Holtzberg and his wife Rivka were killed. They'd lived here for 5 years, leading Mumbai's small Jewish community.
We're going to miss him very dearly. He was a very, very special person, him and his wife.
In the Oberoi Hotel, Alan Shear and his 13-year-old daughter Naomi were having dinner. They were shot point blank.
Tell me about Alan and his daughter.
This is a man who lived a very exemplary life. He meditated. He was a man who was very, very peaceful. Naomi was a gifted little girl. When you spoke to her, you felt you were speaking to an adult.
Santos Lopez's wife, Adriana, was eating dinner with them. He's just arrived from Tennessee to see her in the hospital.
I was basically, preparing turkey for Thanksgiving for my family, and pick up the phone, and she said, "Boo." I said, "Yes, I love you with all my heart." I said, "I love you very, very much." I said, "What happened?" And she said, "I've been shot. We were attacked." She said, "I've been shot." And Alan, I'm covered in Alan's blood.
She was one of the lucky ones. Nickel Sagal came to the Taj Hotel yesterday, hoping to find his sister, who'd been staying in this room.
It's a sort of almost half-crazed notion that I'm going to look up at the hotel and I'm going to see a window and I'm going to see her maybe looking down.
Today, he found out that she was dead. For Good Morning America, Nick Schifrin, ABC News, Mumbai.
If early theories are correct, all of those lost souls are the latest victims in a long, bloody struggle between India and Pakistan over a region called Kashmir. Dr. Richard Haas is the president on the Council of Foreign Relations, joins us now for more perspective. So, as Dan mentioned in his piece, it seems that these would be Pakistani militants who targeted Westerners mainly to get our attention, but who are really after this chunk of land to set up an Islamist state. Does that make sense? You buy that theory?
It's quite possible. This has been a running sore between India and Pakistan ever since both came into existence roughly 60 years ago. And it's quite possible that this is the latest flare-up between the militants on one hand, and in this case, the Indian government or Indian society more broadly on the other.
You've written about the fact that Pakistan, the government there, can't even control its own military. So if this thing spirals into more mistrust between India and Pakistan, what does it mean for us, for American troops just over the border in Afghanistan?
Well, you make the right point. This was not something I would expect that in any way was authorized by the Pakistani government, but a lot goes on in Pakistan that's out of the control of this government. This seems to be that sort of a case. India then doesn't make sense to retaliate against Pakistan because the government, again, was probably not behind it, though there will be a lot of pressure in India to do so. This is probably the most dangerous bilateral relationship in the world between India and Pakistan, two nuclear powers who basically have an extremely limited relationship, if that. For the United States, it's bad news because Pakistan and Afghanistan are increasingly part of the same country, and the fact that Pakistan provides a sanctuary for so many terrorists is a real threat to American troops, is a real threat to the future stability of Afghanistan. This is the single biggest problem in the inbox facing Barack Obama.
And what advice would you give the president-elect?
Well, in the case of Pakistan, it's very difficult. The only thing worse than dealing with your enemies is dealing with your friends. So you really can't sanction them. What it probably means is providing aid, but only providing it on terms that meet our conditions. So Pakistan does the sorts of things we want them to do. But this is one of those problems for which there is no solution. At best, we will manage it. And the sort of thing we've just seen in Mumbai over the last few days is unlikely to be the last such problem of this sort.
And finally, we look at these horrific pictures. It's most alarming to consider that these well-trained men could get on a ship and sail to their target there. Could this happen here? Or was this just an abysmal failure on the Indian security forces?
It looks to be a failure of Indian intelligence. The fact that so many people were planning this over such a length of time is a real warning shot. On the other hand, 9/11 was an example on this side, where there was an awful lot of people involved over months, and the United States failed to connect the dots. So, we're not in a position, if you will, to pass judgment. It's a common problem facing all democracies and all open societies. India is now experiencing its version of what we experienced on 9/11.
Dr. Richard Haas, we always appreciate your wisdom. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you.